Well, you mentioned 2016, and I do want to go back to a key moment in that that sort of ties in, I think, to something you write in your book. And as you know, former President Trump has been accused of sexual assault or misconduct by more than a dozen women. And of course, in 2016, the Access Hollywood tape emerged, which you write about. But the thing I actually wanted to ask you about is you paint a picture of Trump that would be virtually unrecognizable rather, to half of the country as someone who is sort of the ultimate feminist and, as you write, girl boss. Can you help kind of square those two impressions of him?
Yes, and I'm glad I stayed on the campaign after the Access Hollywood tape. I'm glad he apologized. And I was there. I'm one of the few people who told him about the tape from a Washington Post reporter. First we read about it, then he heard it, then he watched it. And I saw his reaction. He didn't recognize it at all. He apologized that night. I'm glad he did. And I agree with him, Melania Trump, and Mike Pence, all of whom denounced those comments in very strong terms. The boss that I worked for on the campaign and in the White House was very good to the women and very good to working moms especially. You know, Ashley, I looked up in a random meeting at 8:20 in the morning, call it a Tuesday or Wednesday. I just looked up as I was taking notes, and I quickly looked and I saw 5 working moms who had the highest rank in the White House in the West Wing, assistant to the president. Mercedes Schlapp, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Ivanka Trump, Brooke Rollins, and me. And between the 5 of us, Ashley, we have 19 school-age children, 19. 12 daughters, 7 sons, at the time between the ages of 2 and 16. Now tell me where you're going to find women able to work at that level, at that status, in a busy place, it happens to be the White House, for a boss who happens to be the president. I know we can go look in corporate America. Maybe you have a handbook there at the Post. We can go look in corporate America where they brag to you that they have family-friendly policies, page 562 to 568 in the corporate handbook, and then you try to exercise those policies and you find out it's difficult. Do you have enough time reserved? You can't go on Friday. You're going to have to miss the baseball game, the dance recital. This is a problem. This is all pre-pandemic, of course, but this is a problem. And I worked for a boss who was slow to anger, who was often had a great deal of humor, and I feel some people wasted their opportunity in front of him. If he said, "What do you see? What do you hear? What's going on? What do I need to know? Or what are people talking about today?" In addition to why we were in there, which was fully briefed and structured, I would watch people blow that shot all the time, and I watched a lot of the women come to him with substance, with policy, with something he hadn't heard before, something in a regional newspaper, or an individual who had called, who was making a meeting to come and present, say, pricing transparency in healthcare or surprise medical billing. So he was a great boss to me, and he was very understanding and very compassionate. When my husband changed his mind about Donald Trump, which is fine, this is America, but seemed to change his mind about me too. And he was very compassionate and really stuck by me.